Sometimes the devil want what you got, and you don't even know it. You thought you saved yourself trying to play heroic. Keep every Sabbath holy, Bibles open, untold stories that can't go unnoticed. Enoch saw everything, they don't want you to know it.
But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof. Just as Yahuwah destroyed ancient Egypt, so will he destroy the modern day Egypt we live in today. Yahuwah said, Pharaoh, let my people go. But because Pharaoh is so stubborn, and his heart has been hardened by the Most High, he will not let the Israelites go free. The Most High, just as in ancient times, is going to have to send plagues and destroy Egypt as before. But this time, because the Israelites are scattered to the four corners of the earth, the plagues are going to be worldwide and much greater. Let's take a look into the book, The Apocalypse of Abraham, starting at chapter 30, where the Most High was talking to Abraham about what would happen to his people in the last days and the punishment of the heathens. And it reads, And while he was still speaking, I found myself on earth, and I said, Eternal Mighty One, I am no longer in the glory in which I was above, and all that my soul desired to understand in my heart I do not understand. And he said to me, I will explain to you the things you desire in your heart, for you have sought to know the 10 plagues which I prepared against the heathen. And I prepared them beforehand in the passing of the 12 hours on earth. Hear what I tell you. It will be thus: the first, sorrow from much need; the second, fiery conflagrations for the cities; the third, destruction by pestilence among the cattle; the fourth, famine of the world, of their generation; the fifth, among the rulers, destruction by earthquakes and the sword; the sixth, increase of hail and snow; the seventh, wild beasts will be their grave; the eighth, pestilence and hunger will change their destruction; the ninth, execution by the sword and flight in distress; the 10th, thunder, voices, and destroying earthquakes. And then I will sound the trumpet out of the air, and I will send my chosen one, having in him one measure of all my power, and I will summon my people, humiliated by the heathen. And I will burn with fire those who mocked them and ruled over them in this age, and I will deliver those who have covered me with mockery over the scorn of the coming age, because I have prepared them to be food for the fire of Hades, and to be ceaseless soaring in the air of the underworld regions of the uttermost depths, to be the contents of a wormy belly, for the makers will see in them justice, the makers who have chosen my desire and manifestly kept my commandments. And they will rejoice with merry making over the downfall of the men who remain and who followed after the idols and after their murderers. For they shall putrefy in the belly of the crafty worm Azazel, and be burned by the fire of Azazel's tongue. For I waited so that they might come to me, and they did not deign to. And they glorified an alien god, and they joined one to whom they had not been allotted. And they abandoned Yahuwah who gave them strength. Therefore, hear Abraham, and see, behold, your 7th generation shall go with you. And they will go out in an alien land, and they will enslave them and oppress them as for 1 hour of the impious age. But of the nation whom they shall serve, I am the judge. And Yahuwah said this too: Have you heard, Abraham, what I told you, what your tribe will encounter in the last days? Abraham, having heard, accepted the words of Elohim in his heart. Could you imagine how Abraham must have felt to hear all the evil that would befall his people in the end times by the hands of the heathens? But as you can see, because of Israel's disobedience to the Most High, he had to let the record play, and Abraham had no choice but to accept it. There have been people commenting on the channel, asking, what does the eclipse have to do with end times? Listen closely. Millions of Americans celebrate the solar eclipse. But if they knew what it actually meant, they wouldn't be celebrating it. Because the Bible identifies a solar eclipse as a sign of Elohim's judgment, a time for mourning and repenting, not celebrating. For an example, before the wrath of Elohim is poured out on the world, on the day of Yahuwah, the sun will be darkened. Yahuwah says, "Thus I will punish the world for its evil and the wicked for their iniquity." Let's take a look at this in Isaiah chapter 13, verses 9 through 11. And it reads, "Behold, the day of Yahuwah come, cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in its going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And I will punish the world for their evil, and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible." You ask, what does the eclipse have to do with the end days, with weather disasters and plagues? Let's take a look at Joel chapter 2, verses 10 through 11. "The earth shall quake before them, the heavens shall tremble, the sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. And Yahuwah shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great. For he is strong that execute his word. For the day of Yahuwah is great and very terrible, and who can abide it?" In Joel chapter 2 and verse 28, "In the end days the Most High said that he would pour his spirit upon all flesh. Our sons and daughters shall prophesy. Our old men shall dream dreams, and our young men shall see visions." The Most High has not kept his judgment a secret, as he has prophets and prophetess and people dreaming dreams and telling you that this world is passing away. Yahuwah tells Israel not to be afraid. Do not be dismayed at the signs of the heavens, for the heathens are dismayed at them. As Yahuwah reminds us that this is a time for the heathens' judgment and for Israel's deliverance. "And woe to them who celebrate in a time of mourning, for a great and terrible day has come upon the world." You ask the question, what does the eclipse have to do with the destruction of the world, with weather disasters and plagues? I now realize that people are not reading and doing their own due diligence when it comes to reading the Bible and all of its precepts so that you can have a good understanding. And I believe that many of you heathens have a hunch as to what's going on. You just don't want to believe it, and out of fear, you need confirmation as to why you and your kingdom are being destroyed. When knowing full well everyone's Bible have the book of Revelations, in which teach us that there's going to be an end to the Gentiles' rule and a beginning of Israel's righteous kingdom. But let's look at some more supporting verses in regards to the eclipse and judgment. Amos chapter 8, verses 9 through 10 reads, "And it shall come to pass in that day, said Yahuwah Elohim, that I will cause the sun to go down at noon, and I will darken the earth in the clear day. And I will turn your feast into mourning, and all your songs into lamentation. And I will bring up sackcloth upon all loins, and baldness upon every head. And I will make it as the mourning of an only son, and the end thereof as a bitter day. You ask, what does the eclipse have to do with weather disasters, with plagues and tribulations? Let's look at another precept. Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 through 30 reads, Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. When the day of Yahuwah comes, Yahuwah's wrath will be released by 7 angels, blowing 7 trumpets. When the 4th angel sounds his trumpet, 1/3 of the sun, and 1/3 of the moon, and 1/3 of the stars will be struck. So 1/3 of them will be darkened, and the day will not shine for 1/3 of it, and the night in the same way. The darkening is an ominous event signifying the terrible wrath about to be released by the next 3 trumpets. Those days will be so terrible, men will seek death, but will not find it because death will flee from them. There's no mistaking in which nation was targeted by the April 8th eclipse, because it only passed over one, and that was the second one for United States since 2017. Making an X or a Tav, it was a mark and or a sign of the judgment that is not only just going to befall the United States, but the entire world. It's okay if you don't want to believe this, but the most recent eclipse was a sign that dark days are definitely here. And prophecy after prophecy keeps coming forth, confirming that Yahuwah is doing exactly what he said he would do. May Yahuwah bless you and keep you all safe in this dark hour. And remember Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13, He that endures until the end, the same shall be saved. And until my next video, Shalom.
Just wanna take this thought that's on my mind, put it in your heart of praise, and I'll turn.
Let's get it. Y'all's chosen who you wanna be. Ayy, cause y'all's coming, information's free. Pray, really chosen, it's a pleasure to be on the beat. Do you a favor, educate yourself on Elohim, the one and only. In this life, you gotta watch for phonies round the block, trying to taint your soul cause the devil want what you got, and you don't even know it. You thought you saved yourself trying to play heroic. Keep every Sabbath holy, Bibles open, untold stories that can't go unnoticed. Enoch saw everything, they don't want you to know it. Facts, they ripped it out, we trying to bring it back. Yeah, like bench seats in a Cadillac.